Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about Nvidia. We're going to be talking about the bull and bear case, kind of giving you a equal-sided perspective of what the stock is doing right now. Going to give you the bear thesis, the bull thesis, and kind of give you the opinion of myself of which theory I'm more leaning to. I think a lot of bears have been screaming at Nvidia saying it must come down, it must come down. And here's the thing, stocks can stay overbought or overvalued for an extended period of time before they even remotely come down to a reasonable evaluation that some may find reasonable. The thing is, a single individual doesn't make the whole market. So let's quickly dive into Nvidia on the daily just to give you guys a little bit of insight just to see what the stock has been doing. Now, first of all, the second gap on Nvidia, in my personal opinion, was completely, absolutely ridiculous. Like, you just had earnings, you had a secondary gap up about crazy, almost from earnings to top of 10%. Calm down. Like, stocks that do that, that's not naturally healthy. So Nvidia having a pullback today is actually very, very healthy for the stock, contrarian to what people will say that, oh, Nvidia is going to come down to fill this gap. First of all, you haven't even broken the low of this candle, $375.50. The low of today was the $378.22. So you still got $3 more to go before you broke the low. This could easily be an A to B to C pattern setting up. So if this was an A to B pattern setting up on the daily, simply put it, and now this is the assumption that we have to make. First of all, I want to see what it retraced to. It retraced about the 38% mark. So it is an area that stocks tend to retrace to. And normally you get a 50% retracement, but then again, with Nvidia, it is a tech stock, so it errs more on the side of that 38% retracement. If that was the case, you're going to get the A to B pattern projecting upwards from the low of today to $500. That's where you get some of these articles that are saying that Nvidia could be $500 by the end of the year. That is a very true possibility. I'm just going to quickly jump over the SMA graph just to talk about this bigger A to B pattern that we had set up that goes back from the last run back in 2019. So the epic 2019 run that basically ended in a huge push down post-COVID, and then the mark of 22 that actually projects up to $427.57. Nvidia's high on the day here was $419.38. So that high there missed it about $7. Nvidia definitely has room to go. As you're seeing, you're setting up a possible A to B pattern on the way up to further price appreciation. Now, that price won't be confirmed until you trade above that 420 mark. And I know all the jokes write themselves about that number, but it's just kind of coincidental of how Nvidia came right to that 420 number and basically backed off. Kind of mimetic, but again, putting satire on the side for a second, Nvidia is pushing on volume. So again, people may say that the company is overvalued. Yes, it may be overvalued based on its PE. It is overvalued based on a lot of fundamentals. It is. But then again, we talk about on this channel that fundamentally stocks can stay overvalued and then create an evaluation that is meeting the evaluation that it currently or holds by going sideways, let's say, or changing the profit metrics. Nvidia is saying they're going to make nearly a 45% quarter-over-quarter increase on their revenue. And that is where we get into a little bit of the controversy. Now, I've been giving you guys the bullish scenario for now, and that was with a purpose. So Nvidia definitely has more room to run. It's the classic Tesla example. If we go back to Tesla's history, we can clearly see that Tesla had what was considered probably the greatest short squeeze of mankind. And you can clearly see every time someone tried to short this thing just pummeled them in the face. No mercy whatsoever. Short squeeze up, short squeeze up. So again, there is plenty of examples that companies can do this to many, many short squeezes. Nvidia, probably no exception. As you can see here, you're getting a ramp in volume, ramp in price. So again, this does not mean that Nvidia can't come down. It just means that there is a lot of emotional baggage, let's say, mainly on the bear side, that is saying this company has to go down. And here's the thing. I'm a bear, guys. Am I going to go short Nvidia? No, I've shorted Nvidia. It's taken my lunch. I've longed Nvidia. I've made money on that. And I've also made money on shorting Nvidia, depending on a cautious short, depending on what was getting overstretched. Would I short the company here? Full disclosure, I did think about shorting it around that 410 number, but then again, it's not one of those things that you willingly do to a company like this because it's not showing any charting that is saying that this company is going to go down. It could easily base around this area and basically just say I'm going to go sideways and form a consolidation period, then go higher. Like we've seen companies do that multiple times. Tech is running like no tomorrow. And do I think this company is going to basically, per se, have an extended run? I don't know yet. I'm going to be fully transparent with you guys. Nvidia has a 50-50 split in my point right now of where I could go. Now, the simplest way to risk manage this company is if you want to invest, once you take out the low of the earnings, which is 377.54, then basically that's your get out of jail card, or that's how I say it. Now you can make it lower, but that's your risk tolerance. But if you start coming into this earnings gap and filling it, that's when I basically be looking at a risk off mentality that maybe the company is going to have a retracement or correction back down to maybe the 333 level. That's just me spitballing on it. But until you get that, stop being bearish on the company. You can be as bearish as you want, and then it's going to just come and take your money, take your donation, and say thank you very much. Now I'm going to get into the controversy, guys, and kind of lean into that bear scenario. So if you guys don't want to hear the bear scenario, I fully appreciate you guys watching the video. And if you think you like the bull scenario so far, throw a like down in the comment section below on the video. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. And share your own personal thoughts. I really want to hear you guys' own personal thoughts of this company and where do you see the company going. I definitely could see that A to B pattern playing out, but I'm also a cautious realist that I want to see what the bears are thinking so that if that comes to fruition, I am prepared. So with Nvidia, there is a couple things that give me a little bit of hesitance to long this company. So the chip maker actually filed an offering of $10 billion, guys. That's 10 B with a billion. So they're selling this at $367 a share roughly. That's when this transaction was executed. And that is a massive, massive amount of revenue and a massive dilution to shareholders. So Nvidia has had a sketchy past about lying to investors, and you can go and do your own due diligence on that. I'm just bringing that up. But it has had a somewhat scary past of what they kind of said, oh, we're going to do this, and then they really didn't. Again, this is very reminiscent of that, especially saying 45% quarter-over-quarter increase. Now, this could play into that where you're bringing in $10 billion, and you definitely could have a massive, massive run on that, and that could factor into your revenue, have really good earnings, and just beat earnings out of the nowhere and skyrocket to $500, $600 a share. Do I think parabolic moves like that? Because I do believe it's a parabolic move and it's going to correct, and usually those correct 61 to 70% of the way, which bring the stock back down to at least the $250 or $300 point, because I'm basically saying that this entire move from the lows here is your parabolic move, which basically a 71% correction, let's assume from the highs here, would bring you between the $250 and $200 level. Now, that doesn't mean in 2-3 days, guys. Just calm down for a second. That means over a long period of time, it could trend down there or it could not. Patterns are invalidated all the time. So again, this is some of the things that give me concern about the company. On top of, if this company was going to the $500, $600 evaluation easy, why would one of the biggest investors, third largest shareholder, just reportedly sold 100,000 shares worth $37.9 million. He sold it as of May 26th, the day after earnings. Nvidia was trading about the 270, 280 level when he was selling it. Had he served on the Nvidia board since 1993. So this is a board member. This is someone that basically has extreme amount of knowledge of the finances of this company. And he's basically saying, nah, I'm going to take my profits. And if you were going to get another 50% increase, and this is a guy that held from 1993, maybe he knows something we don't. And this is where it really gets to start popping up questions. If he knows something, maybe we need to take a better look at what we're seeing on the charts. So first of all, the chart is super oversold on the RSI, and MACD is diverged from one another. So it's telling me the tale of two tales. The MACD is telling me a bullish story. The RSI is telling me a very bearish story. If I look at the monthly, I see a huge divergence on the MACD, forming a lower high on the monthly MACD, and you're plowing into a monthly reversal zone. Last time Nvidia did this, you had this epic run that corrected. However, if you go back to the 2020 market, As you can see here, it pierced out of this reversal zone, went sideways, pierced above it. So Nvidia is one of those stocks that doesn't necessarily respect that region. So we shouldn't necessarily base all our trading off of it. However, you do have that divergence on the MACD here that as price goes up, MACD is going lower. However, it has plenty of room to run up and invalidate this divergence just because the MACD is significantly separated from one another, along with RSI does have a divergence on it. Now, the monthly would have to stay like this for an extended period of time, especially looking at the market as a whole. I don't believe Nvidia can hold this level that it is now, but then again, the market has proven us wrong many times. But the simplest way that I said in the bull scenario is once you start trading below that 377.54, that's when you get bearish on Nvidia. That's when you start getting that gap fill where there's not a lot of price action to support it, and it definitely could come back down to that 303, 320 level, depending on how fast or how hard it sells off. Now, if we get some black swan event, I don't know, banks collapsing or another bank goes under, then semis are definitely going to take the brunt of it just because tech has had a massive run. And I do still hold to the thesis that there is a reaping coming for the market this year, and I think chips are going to take a huge blunt of it. But then again, I could be wrong. I don't take this as trading advice, guys, but I think a company that's ran and basically has returned 250% on the year is a little overstretched by maybe 10 times, but that's just my personal opinion. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. If you found this analysis interesting, just kind of giving you a general perspective of the bull and the bear case, just to maybe check what you're thinking against someone that's maybe thinking differently, or also giving you an insight into the both scenarios as they play out, seeing what both sides are thinking. And if you guys enjoyed this type of content, consider subscribing. We do weekly videos on the market update, mass market update video, viewer request ticker Fridays, where we go over any ticker that you want to request. So throw it down in the comment section below of what you guys want to request, and we'll cover it for you on Friday. So I hope to see you tomorrow for viewer requested ticker Fridays, and maybe even for the weekend deep dive. So I thank you very much for watching and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.